Well, hello and welcome to the Grow Your Business podcast. I'm your host, Vicky Laffey, and I make these podcasts because I want to pass on my wealth of knowledge and experience that I've accumulated over the past 10 years of me being an entrepreneur so that I can help you launch and grow your own small business. Please remember to click subscribe so that you don't miss out on any future episodes. Well, hello everyone and welcome to the Grow Your Business podcast. I'm your host, Vicky Laffey, and after a few months of hiatus, we are pleased to be back on the go with these amazing podcasts which teach you, the small business owner, the solopreneurs, the people doing it on their own, how to grow your business. So today I am talking to the amazing Karen Kilkenny of the Business Performance Academy, and we're going to go through, we're going to have a great conversation about kind of being aligned to your business and how to get those new customers and new leads in. So hopefully you guys will enjoy this. I'm sure you will, and it's going to come in really handy for your business. So Karen, thank you so much for joining me today.
Vicky, thanks so much for having me. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, well, it's pleasure is all mine, I assure you. You're speaking to me all the way from Michigan in the US. So thank you so much for getting up at this time in the morning to chat to me and the lovely entrepreneurs that are listening. So Karen, this your speciality is it is kind of early stage entrepreneurs, right? So you deal with the small business owners who are kind of they're just starting out. So whereas my speciality is helping people make their way into self-employment, you kind of almost pick up where I leave off, right? So I've got a few questions for you. So I would love to ask. So I loved your talk on being aligned with your business, and I think this is a huge a huge thing that often passes people by. It's not that they don't think about it, it's just that it passes them by because they have this business idea, they have this thing they want to make, or this thing they want to do, this service or product, whatever it is for them, and you just get swept up in it, right? Because it's such a whirlwind starting a business. So they don't actually have time to stop and think, is this me? Is what I'm doing aligned to me? Because you have to have a business that works for you and kind of supports the lifestyle that you desire. And it's so easy to get stuck in that place where it becomes a chore, it becomes another job, and you think, well, why did I leave my job for this? So yeah, could you just like chat to us a little bit about that, about that being aligned with your business, how important it is, what it means, that sort of thing?
Absolutely. And it reminds me of a time when I worked for a middle market company, and it's kind of a good old boys club, really. And I didn't realize it at the time because I hadn't really, quote unquote, done my work. But I was so misaligned with the culture of that company. And it literally drove me to the point of getting sick, which was really the stake in the ground that started my awakening, if you will. And my doing my own self-development work. But it really comes down, Vicky, to making sure first and foremost that your values are aligned. In our companies, even in the early stage, depending on where people are at, or if they might have a big need for generating cash right off the bat. But if that's not the case, one of the things we do is also work on vision and values and culture statements, because these things really are all about us. And we'll even do work around purpose, because if we have all of that clear, then the vision and where we're headed with our business also becomes crystal clear. And when we're completely aligned in that way, we can literally feel good about getting up every day. And we can do the hard things because that vision and that purpose and that alignment that's really feeding us each and every day as we do even some of those mundane tasks keeps us going.
Absolutely. I love that. Just to sort of pick up on that point you made there. I think when you do have that vision, that overall alignment, that vision, that clear idea of what you want to do and where you want the business to be, what your product is, what your offering is, then all of those micro decisions, those day-to-day things, the mundane things that you mentioned, become almost, like water off a duck's back. You are, they're easy, that you don't have to, it's not a chore. You don't have to think about these things because you've already got that vision there, right?
Yes, you've heard this. The statement is something like a journey to 1,000 miles begins with a single step, and those steps get easy because we all know the entrepreneurial journey is, it can be easy, but we have to do hard things along the way, and it can have a lot of bumps in the road. We can meet with a lot of frustrations and stuckness and all of that. So we have to have something that's pulling us forward, as well as kicking us from the behind. That's where the coach, right? That's for us. That's where we come in.
Yes, we all need a good coach to somebody to be accountable to, at least to give us a kick up the behind. Absolutely.
And I didn't really mean that. We don't really kick them, do we?
we gently edge them along the way. Yeah, we hold their hand.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I love that you what you mentioned earlier about your journey into self-employment as well, because I often find when speaking to my my crowd, my followers, my gang, that they, an extremely common thing. In fact, every one of them who I've spoken to has this some sort of life event where they, perhaps it's a redundancy, or perhaps it's someone who gets ill and they have to care for them all of a sudden, or sometimes they just wake up one day and think, wow, there is more to life than this. I have to do something else. I have to do something for myself. And so I love that you had this experience, and I'm sure a lot of people listening will also have that experience. And it's such a huge thing. This is what propels you into being an entrepreneur. So I love that. Yeah, absolutely. So Karen, I think we'll just talk about kind of growing your business for a second, and getting those leads, because I think it's all very well having a product or a service that you sell, but how the heck do you get it out there? How do you get people to sell it to? And I think a big mistake that I often see people making is thinking that they can just put something online and it'll sell, which isn't the case. You just have a website or a Facebook page, and then just because you put some products up there that people are going to buy it, there's so much more to it than that, isn't there?
There's so much more to that. And websites are certainly very nice. And that's, where do people go when they're first looking for something? They usually go to the internet and search. So it's nice to have that brochure that gives a little bit about you. And that's where some of the determination about alignment with the potential coach begins. But, the digital era that we're in does require everything different today than it did before. Everything's changed. And so, there are a lot of pieces to this, Vicki, but I would break it down to a few most important things. And one is, you have to absolutely know who your ideal client is. And it becomes more and more clear as I work with people, my clients, they get it. And think about this digital space, how crowded we all feel that it is. We have stuff coming at us everywhere. So we have to have a way to stand out in that crowd. So knowing who your ideal clients are and being able to walk with them through their whole emotional journey, starting with what urgent problems do you solve for those clients? Why is that important, and why being able to walk through their whole emotional journey? Well, because this leads to creating what we call a message to market and a message to market match. And we've all been there where we've talked about our business to somebody, and it's like this ideal client is sitting right in front of us, but they're not getting it. Why is that? Because we're not messaging properly to them. So we have to get that message to market right. And then the third piece of it that I would really, really, it's essential today, I really have to mention to you, is that we have to use at least semi-automation in our business. And aside from a web page, we need some sort of a sales page and a landing or opt-in page, a way to collect leads.
Mhm.
And then that semi-automation would include something like email marketing, which, by the way, is the #1 converter. You know, people say, "Oh, I
Absolutely.
don't want to do email marketing," but is the #1 converter. So we've
Mhm.
got to have those pieces in our business today. And you know, you're the perfect person to help with that. So those are pieces that are so important. And the last thing I'll mention is we've got to have an offer. The offer is so critically important. And there's a right way and a wrong way to build and create an offer. And so, you know, as a coach, I help my clients with that, and I know you do too. But creating a compelling offer
Mhm.
with the proper messaging that will really attract those ideal clients to us, and then it's a simple, you know, enrollment call from there.
Yeah, absolutely. And just for anyone who's listening who might not know what we're talking about with the word offer, you know, whether that be basically that's your product or your service that you're trying to put out into the world. And I'm always telling people, know your ideal client. This is absolutely crucial. And it's something that I didn't discover in business till possibly about 5 years ago myself. I'm, you know, so that's like halfway through my business career. I didn't discover this concept of ideal client, and people probably get sick of me saying it, but I will say it and say it and say it again because it's so important. And the more you know about the ideal client, the better, because then the more you can focus on them and get your messaging right, because people scroll through social media and websites so fast, don't they?
You
And
do.
it's, you know, you've got, I forget the exact figures now, but you know, you've got a matter of a couple of seconds. You know,
Yeah, like
we
three
scroll.
seconds.
Yeah, it's 3 seconds. Yeah. So we scroll through about 90 meters of social media a day. Yeah, it's a
Wow.
huge amount. I probably scroll through about 300 social you know, meters a day, because I'm on it a lot for the business, but yeah, that's on average about 90 meters. And you know, you don't always take it in, so it has to be immediately obvious to make you stand out, like you say.
Vicki, you're so right. I just want to, for our listeners, I want to accentuate what you just said. I mean, those first 3 seconds are so important because as people are doing, I didn't realize it was 90 feet of scroll, but as people are scrolling through all this stuff online, this is where also, you know, the alignment with who you are and your values and everything and your authenticity. Like, to me, I work with authentic people.
Mhm.
And your authenticity has to show through, and who you are has to show through and catch someone's attention in those first 3 seconds as they
Yeah, huge. And that goes for whether you're whether it's on social media or whether it's a Google search engine result or whatever it is. You know, it has to be immediately obvious. And I think this is another mistake a lot of people make. I don't know if you see this too, but there's that temptation to appeal to everyone. You know, and I know I was like this myself when I first started out in business for a good few years. You were just happy to be selling anything to anyone, no matter what the price or the, you know, whatever it is. You'll take on orders that aren't really aligned to you, or you'll just do whatever the customer asks, and you end up regretting it afterwards. You think, oh gosh, that job was a bit of a pain, or you know, whatever it is, or it just doesn't really feel good to you, or it leaves you feeling tired and overworked, and you know, all of that. So yeah, it was a good few years before I discovered the concept of the ideal client, and then kind of really started to niche down into what I wanted. I call it the 3-year leap, actually, because this is what happened to me, and a number of other entrepreneurs that I've spoken to have this 3-year leap as well. You know, you start your business, it comes into 3 years or so, the 3-year mark, and you get to this point where you sort of sit and think, right, hang on, let's take a step back here. And what do I want? I've been doing this a few years now, and actually I'm beginning to get a little bit tired of doing one thing, and I really want to focus on this other thing. So yeah, the more you niche down, the better. That's where I was heading with this, is the more narrow you can be, the better, which seems strange, doesn't it? But that's how it is. Excuse me.
You're so right.
Yeah. So, well, thank you. I would love for you to tell my husband that, actually.
Well, and think about it. It's I'll use an example my coach gave me, and because it's a while ago, so let me see if I can remember this. But essentially, if you were going to buy some clothing in a store, so you go to a clothing store, okay, well, is it a particular kind of clothing or a piece of clothing that you're looking for? Are you looking for a dress? Are you looking for some leggings? You need to know what you're looking for. And then maybe it's leggings. So are you looking for leggings that have a pouch in them that can carry your cell phone? That's your micro niche right there. So this niching down is so important, because you would go to a completely different store to find that particular item versus just clothing. Clothing is the industry. So, we are coaches, but we have niches, and it's so important, as you said. So it bears repeating, is having a micro niche in today's day and age is going to help us and our business even more.
Absolutely. I love that analogy. Yeah, I hope the people listening, that helps to explain that concept of a niche better, because you wouldn't just go to a leggings store either, would you? I guess you would probably go to a sports store because you like that sort of thing, because you're jogging, or so I absolutely love that. Yeah, fantastic. So Karen, just quickly in the last couple of minutes, I mean, what are, this is something we could do a whole other show on, possibly a whole other course, actually, but I mean, if you were to ask somebody, would you like more customers, everyone would say yes, right? So it's not just about the online space, so what are some other ways of getting new leads, new customers? Could you just sort of do a quick whistle stop tour in our last couple of minutes, as different ways that people can approach and get in front of new customers?
Sure. I believe in networking, but excuse me, in today's world, we really have to form strategic partnerships with other businesses, other business owners that serve the same clientele that we serve. So like you and I getting together, right? And we have what are called upstream and downstream partners. And so a great example that everybody can relate with is, think about a real estate agent working with a title company owner, working with maybe a CPA or an interior decorator. All of the businesses that would work really well together, they're serving the same clients, but at different points in that client or that customer journey. Excuse me. So we need to find our own strategic alliances and then give value. Like, I love the book called Go Giver by Bob Burg, who's speaking on my summit, by the way.
Oh, amazing.
So this book, I can't say it better than he does, but giving value to others in our strategic alliance is a great way to build those relationships and just nurture them over time. And then you can share those customers depending where they're at in that journey. Joint ventures is another, that's another place, another thing that we all need to be doing today. That's generally a little bit later in the business, but joint ventures are a great way to build business. And then, you can get on podcasts. You can get, You can land speaking engagements and things like that. And you can grow through social media. And I know you help your clients with that too, depending. And there's so many places, right? Platforms where we can be on social media, but we really should pick our places because we can't be anywhere. And so, whether it's Facebook groups or Instagram or Twitter or wherever or LinkedIn, if you're business to business, particularly, we got to pick our place and then just build authority in those places. And again, add value first, give value first, and it'll come. Nothing happens overnight.
Yeah.
You're really, really lucky, but doing the right things consistently over time is what leads to success. That is my definition of success.
Absolutely. Yeah. So don't expect it overnight. Don't expect it straight away. But yeah, you're kind of building the building blocks, I suppose, aren't you, of your business? So,
Yes.
so yeah, Karen, I'm aware that you have another meeting to go to very shortly. So do you just want to tell us about your upcoming summit and where people can find it?
Absolutely. So I'm hosting a summit and it's going to air July 5th through the 18th. And it's called Marketing to Boost Your Lead Generation and Sales, How to Confidently Attract New Ideal Clients and Multiply Your Sales. We'll have, we're aiming for 28 speakers. We're well on our way, but it'll be loaded with value. And you can find out more about,
find it.
Well, you can find out more about me on the businessperformanceacademy.com. That's a page I have for my one-to-one coaching. And I will also be talking about it in my Facebook group, which is also called the Business Performance Academy. So those are the two best places to find out about it.
Brilliant. Love it. So, well, Karen, thank you so much for joining us today. This is something I can talk to you all day about, but sadly, we can't.
Same way. My new kindred spirit here.
Absolutely. So yeah, so everyone, that was Karen from the Business Performance Academy. I hope you've enjoyed today, and I hope your business continues to grow and thrive. Well, thank you so much for listening all the way through the podcast. I hope you found that really useful, and I hope you've got some actionable tips and knowledge to implement in your own small business. Please remember to click subscribe so that you don't miss out on any future episodes. And also you can catch up with me on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn.